The LA Kings are completely unfazed by overtime playoff pressure. Kawhi Leonard is out for Game 4 today, and the Dodgers are down to their fourth choice and a fifth starting pitcher. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. It is April 22nd, 2023. It is Galaxy Game Day. Now, I have a peculiar habit, one of many. I will wear a different Galaxy jersey until the Galaxy decide to stop losing. They haven't won yet this year. I'm starting to run out of jerseys. Thank you, Chris Klein, for nothing. If you like the content we put out about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. There's always good stuff to talk about when it comes to LA sports. Now, before we go through the news and notes, we're going to take a look at the scoreboard. Kings 3, Edmonton 2 in overtime. Trevor Moore scored a power play goal in overtime on a disputed call, which we'll get into more detail about in a moment. Eunice Corpusalo stops 38 shots. The Kings lead the series 2-1. Game 4 is in LA Sunday. The Oilers say that they have a bone to pick with league offices in Toronto. In both losses for the Oilers, they have had a replay that went against them. And they have a problem with that, particularly because one of them was on the game-winning goal. But even if I conceded that the game-winning goal last night should have been negated, which, by the way, I do not, the Oilers are simply giving up way too many penalties. In the Game 1 victory for the LA Kings, 5 power plays allowed to LA because the Oilers couldn't control themselves. Last night in Game 3, 5 power plays for the Kings. The Oilers are playing undisciplined hockey. They have nobody to blame but themselves, and asking for instant replay to bail you out is a fool's errand. You've got to clean yourself up first. Connor McDavid was the only Edmonton player to beat Korpisalo. And I got 2 other tidbits that I want to give you about the Kings last night before we move on to everything else. 1, on that game-winning goal, the Oilers claimed that Gabe Vilardi knocked the puck out of the air with a high stick. I have no idea if it did. Here's why. Black hockey puck going up in the air past Gabriel Vilardi, who is wearing a black jersey. If the puck goes so high, it's obscured by the fans who are wearing, you guessed it, black. There is no discernible look, not from instant replay. Anybody who tells you that there is one is begging. As for Korpisalo, give the man credit. He has at least 30 saves in all 3 playoff games. The guy is playing on his head so far this playoffs. Chicago 13, Dodgers 0. The Dodgers flat out stunk up the joint. No pitching, damn near no hitting. Matter of fact, Drew Smyly took a perfect game into the 8th. What broke it up? David Peralta sent this little dribbler. Smyly went to pick it up, got steamrolled by his catcher. It was called an infield hit. We'll talk a little bit more about the Dodgers in a moment. Meanwhile, today, the Lakers are playing Memphis at 7. Game 3, the series is tied at 1 apiece. Stop me if you've heard this before. Ja Morant is going to be a game-time decision. Clippers versus Phoenix at 12:30. That's also game 4. Phoenix leads the series 2-1. No Kawhi Leonard, no Paul George either. Tough times for the Clips. Chicago will play the Dodgers at 11:20 a.m. That's Dustin May. He's 1-1 with an ERA of 3 versus Hayden Wesneski, 1-0 with an ERA of 6.23. The Galaxy host Austin FC at 7:30 tonight. 2 struggling teams. The Galaxy, again, no wins. Austin hasn't won in its last 4. Douglas Costa, last seen taking down an opponent by the neck, scheduled to play. And LAFC is at Nashville at 5:30. LAFC is the only unbeaten team in MLS. They are not in first in the Western Conference, though, because of tie matches that they've had. St. Louis FC has more wins. Now, Ty Lue, and I don't know if this is good, admitted that Kawhi Leonard's injury is, quote, very deflating, unquote. And the reason that I don't know if it's good is because we like it when people are honest. We don't want to be in the dark or under a cloud of mystery about how the team is feeling or about how Kawhi is feeling. You'd prefer to know. But I don't know if it's good to say that the team is deflated over Kawhi Leonard. Appreciate the honesty. I just don't know if it's a good idea. Leonard is considered day to day, so expect Norman Powell to be in the lineup today. Game 3, he was terrific. He scored 42 points. But I have to be real with you. Mr. Sensitive, Bill Plaschke of the LA Times, wrote about how Leonard being injured is part of a, quote, Clippers curse, unquote. Wrong. No. A curse implies bad luck. Leonard had a rap sheet of unusually lengthy injuries for his entire career. And by unusual, I mean people keep asking if Leonard is taking too much time off. Now, I'm not claiming he's faking the injury now. I have no idea. I'm skeptical he's faking it. It is the playoffs. But consider that he got ran out of San Antonio because of a right quadricep issue that the Spurs didn't think was that bad. Then comes load management, starting in Toronto. And of course, a knee injury that took him out for more than an entire season. You cannot sign Kawhi Leonard and expect him to be there when you need him. You can't expect it. He's either taking time off or he's injured way too much. That is not a curse. That is a conscious decision by Clippers management. That's not a Clipper curse. Michael Grove was sent to the 15-day injured list due to a strained right groin. Now, to repeat, we have a very strict don't go into detail about men's groins policy here at Faithful Angelenos. Jake Reed has been summoned up from AAA Oklahoma City to pitch for the Dodgers. Even worse, Ryan Pepio was transferred from the 15-day DL to the 60-day DL. Pepio has a strained oblique muscle. Now, Reed, he's 30. He spent time with LA in each of the last 2 seasons. He's also bounced around a lot, 5 major league teams. Keep in mind, this is the 5th starter for the Dodgers this year. Gonsolin was supposed to be first, then Pepio, then Grove, and now Reed. Tough times. By the way, this is the worst start of the season for the Dodgers since 2018. You look at the stats, and it's not that big a surprise that LA is nearing being victimized in that attempt at a perfect game yesterday. Look, Miguel Rojas, who's on the injured list right now, Miguel Vargas, David Peralta, all of them hitting below 200. There is a systemic issue with hitting with a big chunk of the Dodgers roster right now. Team president Stan Kasten told media outlets that the franchise wasn't particularly swayed by how the Padres and other teams maxed out their credit cards in the offseason. Quote, "We have been both short-term and long-term," unquote, he told the LA Times. Quote, "We've been able to invest the resources we need to develop the long-term pipeline, as well as having a top payroll year in and year out." He added that it's not a goal of ours to get every year's top guy. Remember, the Dodgers were rumored to go after Aaron Judge and a variety of elite pitchers. They didn't do that. There's no hard and fast rule, he said. If you do have hard and fast rules, I think that's where you develop problems. LeBron James shrugged off Dylan Brooks' insults because he's LeBron James and that guy is Dylan Brooks. Quote, "I'm not here for the bull," said LeBron. "I'm ready to play and that's it." So, Mr. Brooks, consider that you love poking the bears. Consider that the bear has been poked. But I don't think LeBron James is looking to drop 40 as Brooks insists. I think basically LeBron is like, do you really want to test me? Because it's about team wins. LeBron was always known as a team guy, despite what despite about social justice, this, that, or the other. And yes, he is a bit of a narcissist, but he knows very well that he advances when the team wins. So it's linked. Does anybody want to explain the NFL salary cap? Because I sure can't. I thought trading Allen Robinson would actually save the Rams a few nickels. Wrong. Oh, it will for 2024. For 2023, LA had about 10 million in space, but it dropped after trading Allen Robinson. They lose $3.5 million in cap space. Craziness. Even stranger, after signing their draft class, when the draft goes on next week, they sign their draft class, the Rams will be over the salary cap again. Now, granted, it's not by much. It's about the price of a used car. Maybe a Honda, perhaps even a Camry, but still over the salary cap. Plus, LA is going to be over the cap in a week. They will be much more under the cap next year. You can do a lot with $74 million in salary cap space. So that is the reason that Allen Robinson is gonzo. Brian Jackson, a 3-star running back out of McKinney, Texas, is committed to USC after he graduates in 2024. He rushed for more than 1,600 yards last year. He is the second signee of the class of 2024 after tight end Joey Olsen of Oregon. There's also a common theme, a secondary theme, if you will, after watching the Trojan spring game. Hey, freshman quarterback Malachi Nelson. Just give him some time. I read 3 articles on it. They all said the same thing. Hey, give him time. He's just getting started. Don't put any pressure on him. Give him time. And I'm sitting there reading these articles thinking, we know he has time. He's not in the running to start. The Trojans have a starting quarterback. We've all heard of him. The guy won the Heisman. I mean, I don't think anybody out there was pressing for Nelson to get playing time over Caleb Williams. So no, we're not panicking over Malachi Nelson. Maybe the writer should be the one trying to relax. The Athletic is a very thorough sports news site, sometimes a little too thorough. The Chargers beat writer compiled a list of 67 players that the Bolts could target in the first 3 rounds. Now, if you think I'm going to go through 67 player profiles, you're begging. That's not happening. What I will do, though, is tell you that the most popular positions are. In other words, what I mean by that is by telling you the players on that list and what position they play, maybe we get some insight as to where the Chargers are looking. Not necessarily for a player, but for a position to fill. Of the 67, the most popular were wide receiver and cornerback, 15 each. Now, wide receiver makes a little more sense because the Bolts do not have a deep threat. I mentioned it before. I think that negates USC's Jordan Addison because his 40 time was terrible. I really like the idea, though, of a tight end going in the early rounds because new offensive coordinator Kellen Moore ran a lot of double tight end formations out of Dallas when he was there, and the Chargers simply don't have a lot of tight ends to work with. If the Chargers go tight end in the first round, you're looking at either Michael Mayer of Notre Dame or Dalton Kincaid of Utah. The Athletic prefers Mayer because they think he's a better blocker. The Athletic, by the way, also listed 8 tight ends that should be worthy of a pick in the first 3 rounds. Edge rushing depth is also a need, and there are allegedly 13 of them that could be worthy of taking in the first 3 rounds. But the guess here is that the elite ones are going to be off the board by the time the Chargers pick. So they might pass that one on first round. The other position that had a lot of votes in terms of need for the Chargers is running back. But that doesn't have to be in the first round either. You can get decent running backs in the second and third. So I'm not a Chargers fan. My wife will tell you that. She's the Chargers fan under this roof. But if I were a Chargers fan, I would say after the first 2 days of the draft where they hold 3 rounds, I think a Chargers fan would be happy to get a tight end, a cornerback, and a wide receiver. Just a guess. You let me know what you think. The Galaxy have added goalie Simon Gilson from LA Galaxy 2. They have been goaltender deprived because Jonathan Bond has been out with an injury, and backup Jonathan Klinsmann has been playing through a shoulder issue. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Let me know what you think about the LA Kings and their moxie in overtime games. or about Kawhi Leonard and how that harms the LA Clippers. And if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back later tonight with a Galaxy Rapid Recap. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Porta El Queso production. Take care.